Hey guys, Brad here at Custom Offsets. Got another episode of Lifts and Levels. This is going to be a 6.5 inch zone kit. This is going to be for 2014 up to 2018 Ram 2500 trucks, the trucks with the coil springs in the rear as well. This is going to be the radius arm kit. Zone has two different kits. They have a radius arm drop kit, which will reuse the factory radius arms, and they have a kit that comes with new radius arms, which is what this kit is here. And you can see these new massive radius arms that Zone makes for these trucks. Then we got new coil springs up front. What's nice about these, it's a dual rate spring. As you can see, the coils are wound tighter up towards the top versus at the bottom, so it'll give you optimum ride. And you got dual spray rings for the rear as well, which is very nice in terms of the lift kit world. You don't see that too often. We're just going to kind of run through all the components. Obviously the lift's going to be coming from the springs, and what they do to correct that is you're going to have your front track bar drop bracket, which is going to realign the track bar so that your front axle is then centered on the truck once it's lifted. They also include one for the rear because these trucks have a rear track bar, being that they're coil sprung in the rear. And then we got some quite large new sway bar end links, some new bump stops, and then sway bar realignment or alignment brackets. I believe these are going to be for the front sway bar. New forged drop pitman arm, which is obviously what you're going to need to help keep your drag link up front as flat or close to stock-like angles as possible. And then there's going to be, okay, this particular kit's got the nitro shocks on it. These are Zone standard shocks. Most Zone kits you can upgrade to Fox shocks, but this one has the Zone shocks. And then probably the next thing worth talking about would be this piece here and this piece here. These are going to be for the transfer case clocking ring. Now it's not required to do the transfer case clocking on this kit, but it is recommended if you're looking to try and avoid any potential for driveline vibrations while in four-wheel drive at higher speeds. And that's what this is going to do. And this new cross member, basically what happens is the transfer case will get clocked down, meaning the front output will be lower toward the ground, which will decrease the angle on your front drive shaft, therefore reducing any potential for vibration. So that's what this is going to be for, and this new cross member. And just so you know, that is quite labor intensive. So if you do get something like that, it's probably going to cost more if a shop's doing it, because they're going to have to do a lot more labor to install that. Also, let's see, this customer opted for the dual steering stabilizers. They're just going to be the standard nitro stabilizers, which is Zone's standard option. Dual steering stabilizers up front. Once again, not necessary, but an option that the customer wanted to go for. And I really think I hit pretty much everything. This is going to be a drive shaft spacer for you there, so the drive shaft's not being overextended. Lots of hardware, lots of bushings, and lots of instructions, as you can see here. That's really pretty much going to be it, and that's going to be the Zone 6.5 inch kit. All right, everyone, we got the Zone 6.5 inch kit installed on the truck here, and we're just going to run through the parts as they're installed on the truck. You can see the first thing that you're going to notice is this new coil spring up front. This is a dual rate spring. You can see the closer wound coils are on top, and the more spread apart coils are going to be on the bottom of the spring here. That's simply because dual rate springs can offer a better ride if they're set up properly. And then another key component to the lift is the track bar relocation mount, which is going to be this bracket right here. As you can see, that's going to drop the track bar down from the stock location here. And the whole point of that is to keep this front axle centered left to right under the truck. If you were to try and keep this in the factory location, it would pull the axle over to one side, and you'd have this side of the truck, the wheel would be sticking out a lot more than the other side. And then we got our sway bar drop brackets here, a new drop pitman arm as well. And then another thing that you should know when you do the drop pitman arm, you do have to modify the factory drag link. I believe you have to cut it so that it can be short enough New shocks up front, these are the nitro shocks. This particular kit is going to be the new radius arm kit. The new radius arms are longer than the factory radius arms. Once again, that's to keep the front axle centered in the wheel well. If you were to use the shorter arms, it would actually pull the axle backwards and cause all kinds of issues there. Really, I think that's pretty much it for the front. Oh, there's this one, we got the dual steering stabilizer on this truck, which is an option. You can see the dual steering stabilizer right here. It's a nice feature on solid axle trucks, especially when you're running the bigger tires to help prevent any kind of def wobble issues or anything like that. All right, so forgot one major thing on these kits here. Transfer case clocking ring, which is essential on the larger kits like this 6.5-inch kit. And what that pretty much does is it takes your transfer case, the front output, lowers it down, and that's simply to reduce the angle on this front drive shaft here. As you can see at full droop, we still have complete free rotation of the drive shaft, no binding there. So what that is, it's going to be that clocking ring, and you actually have to take the transfer case off the extension housing, install the clocking ring, and then pretty much install the transfer case back on. And then they also give you a little spacer here for the front drive shaft as well, which is going to help any kind of running out of slip issues on your shaft there. And then they do include this new cross member. So right here, this whole piece here, that you take the factory cross member out, ditch that, and you use this new one. It's just a little bit lower. It gives you the proper clearance for the front shaft, as well as to mount the transmission transfer case back up to it. So yes, that's a very important piece that I pretty much forgot until I was kindly reminded by a fellow coworker here. In the rear, these are a coil sprung rear truck, so no leaf springs in the rear, so it's a little more complicated than just blocks and shocks in the rear. We do obviously have the new shocks. We got longer, much longer sway bar end links for the rear, and then as you can see, the new coil springs for the rear of the truck. These are quite massive as well. Bump stop drop down brackets here that you can see, and then another, just like the front, which is coil sprung, the rears of these trucks have a track bar, and that must be relocated as well. And you can see the new track bar bracket that Zone includes here, and it's the same thing, same rule of thumb for that as it is the front. It's to keep the axle centered left to right under the truck once it's been lifted up like this. So that's a key component there that any good kit will have in it. And really, I think that's pretty much it. Not too many things going on, just the rears on these trucks are a little more complicated than the leaf sprung trucks. But that's gonna pretty much do it for this Zone 6.5-inch kit for, I forget the years now. What year is this truck? 18. What is it? What's the year range these fit? 14? So this is gonna be the Zone 6.5-inch kit. It fits 2014 to 18 and possibly 2019. They haven't confirmed it yet. Ram 2500 trucks. This one's whoops. This one's a 2018. But yeah, Zone 6.5-inch kit. Check it out. Bye.